Well, welcome to my kitchen, and what we're going to do today is make ghee. It's so simple, and I'm always surprised when people say, oh, it's going to take too much time to make it. So we're going to come together today and make it together. So first off, I'm going to start with organic unsalted butter. I got this from Giant. So I'm making quite a lot right now, as you know, because I'm making all the cleanse kits. So before I get started, I just want to let you know what I've got. So first off, all my organic butter. Here's my mason jars that I'm actually going to put the ghee into. And those of you who have ordered the cleanse kits will get one of these. And this is the pot I'm using, just a regular pot. If I wasn't making so much, what I would use is I actually have a copper pot. I love cooking with copper. Our grandparents used to use it, and that's because it heats evenly throughout. And I actually think the ghee tastes better. I also have some music on in the background because I think it's important to have the right kind of atmosphere when you're making things for somebody else. It's a little airy-fairy, I know, but I do believe that we take some of our tension that we have with us and we put it into whatever we're making. So I like to be calm and peaceful and feel that I'm doing something very loving for somebody else. So to start off with is the boring part, unwrapping all the butter. Oh, and I have my Ayurveda t-shirt on, so I'm all ready as well. That is optional. You don't have to have one of those to make good ghee. Now, the wonderful thing about ghee is it is an Ayurveda superfood, and we have talked about that. And that's because it's a natural probiotic, so it's wonderful. It's extremely restorative, very, very nourishing, wonderful if you have high vata, and wonderful going into vata season, which is fall and early winter. So probably the most laborious part of this is actually unwrapping all the butter. The nice thing about ghee too is you do not have to refrigerate it. It's unlike butter. In fact, once we've boiled it, it won't act like dairy at all. So we do not have to refrigerate it. It will not go rancid. Wonderful for cooking. It cooks at very high temperature. Great for adding it to your veggies that you want to bake in the oven. In fact, I think ghee is just about wonderful to add to most things. I add it to my breakfast when I do breakfast oatmeal or quinoa. I definitely add it to my khichdi. What else do I add it to? Add it to toast. Wherever you would use butter. I'm going to use one more. Now for you, I would just use just 1 pound of butter here. I'm making more because I'm making it in mash. So I'm going to take this over to the stove and put my stove on. I have it on high. And I'm going to start it sort of medium high just to boil it all. And then it's cleanup time, isn't it? So while I'm doing that, because right now I don't need to be watching it, but I will have to watch it in a moment. So as you can see, I'm just melting the butter right now. And we're going to bring it to a fairly rapid boil to start off with. So bear with me as it takes time. I also have ready a bowl because I'm going to skim what's on the surface off. So I have a spoon to skim it, although plastic's not really great. I actually prefer a metal spoon. That's my spoon that I normally use. I'm going to put a towel out so I don't make too much mess. And it's just beginning to start bubbling, but there are still large pieces of butter in here, but just around the edge it's beginning to start boiling. So as you can see, just beginning to start boiling there around the edges. So I'm going to turn it down just a little. We're on medium now. And we want all that froth to come to the top. In fact, what will happen is it will start frothing and start bubbling. And there'll be some loud bubbles too, some loud cracking sounds. That's the air coming out. It starts smelling really good round about now. It starts smelling like popcorn, which always smells good. Even if you don't like popcorn, it smells good. It's like coffee. Even if you don't like coffee, it smells good, doesn't it? So you start seeing the foam coming to the top. And I am going to start scraping that foam in a little bit. Now what some people do, I'm not going to show it today, actually I haven't tried it, but it will be fun to do one day, is we take all that foam off the top, put it in a bowl, and then we compress it, squeeze it through cheesecloth, and make a cheese out of it called paneer. So see how it's now beginning to bubble a little, it's coming to a simmer. I'm now going to turn it down a little bit more, so we're low to medium. I'm going to start scraping some of the froth off the top and just put it in my bowl. So it's boiling fairly vigorously, steady, it's simmering. And we'll probably simmer this anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes, depending on this particular ghee. Each time I do it, it's a little bit different. What we don't want to do is burn it. So there comes a time when you know it's just going to start turning. So what happens straight off is we just have lots and lots of froth. And we're going to boil it until we have no froth left on top. I don't know whether you can hear it now. There's quite a loud boiling sound going on. And it will become clear. What we're looking for when we know it's ready is when it's clear and it just looks like honey. It's not clear yet. And you can see the froth here. Yeah. Now I wouldn't do this and then just go away and leave it. I would definitely stay here and monitor it. I have done that a few times and ended up with very burnt ghee. You can stir it if you want, but what's happening is we're boiling all the milk solids out. So at the bottom of this pan at the end, all the milk solids will be at the very base of it. See, it's boiling quite vigorously. You see some of the froth there. But I'm steaming up the camera lens here. So this is good. This is sort of the pace I want it to go at. And you can see it's still cloudy. It's not clear yet, so it's not ready yet. So I'm still taking some of the froth off. And I'm just going to watch it and just let it simmer. So you can see a lot of the froth has come off and it's beginning to get a little clear. We probably have maybe another 5 minutes to go. So it's becoming almost clear. Maybe just a couple more minutes. Just going to take some of the froth, still a little bit of froth on top. It looks quite different to how it did look. I'm going to show you, it's still making that slight cracking noise, which means there's still air in here. So it's actually gone quite frothy again, probably because I was playing with it. So we're going to wait for all that froth to go. So the froth is beginning to go, and you can start seeing some spaces here in the ghee where the ghee itself is just beginning to show through, and we're beginning to lose the actual froth on top. So we've probably been boiling for maybe, or simmering for maybe just 10 minutes, not very long. You know, and even if your ghee goes a little darker, which this one looks like it's going to, it just gives it a slightly different taste, which is really nice too. And ghee actually matures with age, much like wine does, so the longer you leave it on the shelf, the better it tastes. So this is almost ready, probably another 5 minutes, and then we'll pour it out. So this ghee is ready now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pour it into this little jar here, which has some holes in the top. I think it's a gravy jar. We all have those things that we're not quite sure what we have it for in the kitchen. So that's just what I like to do, but you don't have to do that. So I'm going to take the ghee and put it in here. And you can see mine's actually quite a dark color. So I'm going to put it all in here. And you can probably see all the milk solids that are in the bottom of this pan. So that's the stuff we didn't want. So this is no longer considered dairy as far as your body is concerned. The qualities are no longer dairy. So I'm going to put this in the sink. It may require some scrubbing. So this is where you get help. This is what husbands are good. And as you can see, my ghee actually is quite dark. So I cooked it probably on the longer side. And that's okay, so it looks more like maple syrup than a light honey. Now we want to put it into the jars pretty soon. So what I like to do is we want to filter it to put it in case there's anything left in here. So the way I like to filter is I'm going to use some paper towels. These are great filters. I tried cheesecloth. I just got into a big mess with cheesecloth. So I'll show you how I do one. I just put one paper towel in and then pour it through. So that's one. And then I'll do another one. So we're filtering the ghee in. And I'll do that on each one. And you can still see here there are still some milk solids in here, which is why we are filtering. And then I like to cap them straight away because I don't want anything getting into it. Any bacteria, I don't want anything flying around. Hopefully there's nothing flying around, but I don't want anything getting into it. So then I'm going to leave these overnight, and then tomorrow when you wake up, they'll look quite different. They won't look sort of like maple syrup. They'll have a honey look about them. In fact, I have one right here that I made another time. So they'll be that color, all right? Depending on how light the color was. So this one may be a little bit darker, but it's gonna taste good, it's gonna taste fine. So pretty simple. And one of these, if you have no more than a tablespoon a day, and I don't recommend anybody have more than a tablespoon a day, a tablespoon's good, it'll last you a week and a half. All right, so thanks for coming and joining me in my kitchen this Sunday afternoon, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Namaste.